All right, back for game number 2 tonight. This one features the #1 team in the nation, the New York Gremlins, playing the host team, the ASHLAND A's. And this should be a lot of fun to call, as the Gremlins have put a lot of punishment on the teams that they played this year. And no short of having pitcher Jack Beesgrove on the mound. He is a massive dude. Reminds you kind of the pitchers we used to see in Ashland, the Darren Zach, Lauren Allgaier type guys. And to my right, a couple guys that got to watch them from the stands. Mark Hastings and Mike Van Dyne helping out up here in the booth. And those guys were something else. The Gremlins battery on the night. The catcher is Blake Hunter. The pitcher, again, Jack Beesgrove. And Beesgrove is pretty awesome. He's considered to be the #1 pitcher in the world, folks. And he's Australian. The 19-year-old lefty, born near Queensland, Australia, is 6'3", and again, he just looks like a monster out there. Leading off for the ASHLAND A's in the top of the first inning will be the left fielder, Dustin Holtz. Dustin wearing number 50 and probably not faced a guy like Beesgrove this year. We're underway. Game number 2, Brookside Park in Ashland, Ohio. Folks, if you've never been to Ashland, Ohio, well, you're missing something, because it's a great atmosphere for softball. The fans are out for the nightcap here to see the Gremlins and the home team, the A's. A beautiful breeze coming off the Town Creek over here beyond the fence. And the fence used to be closed, and you'll see it here in a bit as Jack Beesgrove delivers the curveball outside. Is see-through now. Used to be more like a green monster type fence where you could use it as a hitter for help. Now it's really more conducive to the fan, but less conducive to the hitter, as the 2-1 offering is strike 2. The Ashland A's are kind of a makeshift squad. Players from Philadelphia, the Bronx, some local guys. Zach Nussbaum from Dalton as one out, as the strikeout for Beesgrove. And coming to the plate, Paul Mikiovic comes up to the plate. Love the uniforms of the A's. The red and gray, the red high socks here, the Gremlins wearing kind of Yankees colors, right? The black and white. And really, they're a lot better than both the teams in New York this year, which is not probably happy to hear the people back listen to this broadcast, but for the guys in this booth, well, we don't exactly root for the New York Yankees, so we're okay with that. Beesgrove delivers a strike at the top of the zone, an 0-2 count on the shortstop. One away, second one of the nightcap tonight. We'll have a full slate of games tomorrow starting at 9 o'clock in the morning, but this one a little after 9 tonight, as a foul ball. Maybe some promise there to the left-handed batter. As you can see, the lights are on here, and they've been on since a little bit after 8 o'clock, as it's still really middle of summer. Don't say it's end of summer to a teacher if you want to live. Jack Beesgrove rocks back and fires in a pitch outside as he was looking to get his hitter to chase. And now the count at 1-2. Mikiovic stands in the box and swings and misses, and that'll be all for him. 2 batters, 2 Ks, 2 outs. And Beesgrove firing on all cylinders as the Lumberjacks making their way back in to check out the game, as they were victorious 9-1 in the first game tonight. If you were tuned in, they blasted the Bombers And Beesgrove delivers and swing and a miss. A lot better if you're an outfielder in the second game because you don't have to deal with the sun in right field. A little easier to see. And shot delivered to left field for a single. And James Reinhardt has the first hit of the night for the Ashland A's. He'll want to see the playback of that one, I'm sure. Solid stroke to left field, went with the pitch. And Beesgrove probably didn't expect that. Ball high, the first pitch, and really, I mean, when we saw the women's national team come in 2015, I don't think they expected to see the offense from the second game of the actual Team Ohio played pretty well. First game was a blowout. The second game was close. A lot of players that you saw on a lot of the networks that were big-time softball players in college on the women's side. Swing and a miss, strike two. And Ryan Wilemo sees pitch number 3 go outside. Got a runner on first. 2 outs, top of the first inning. Second game of the night here from Ashland. And that is a beautiful pitch, and he rung him up, folks. 3 strikeouts on the inning. 1 hit, 1 man left on base. We'll go to the bottom of the first inning. You're watching softball here on the Premier TV network. We'll be right back. Back at Brookside Park, and, well, you don't get a lot of warning over here from my left. He's got more monitors than, I don't know, the Empire State Building or something over here. He's got like 4 monitors and 6 cameras. Don't let this guy in your house.
New York Gremlins in the bottom of the first inning. A member of the Argentina national team.
So the New York Gremlins Network, and this is a production of Premier TV. He set me straight on the break. He doesn't want to kill his advertising dollars. I told him if he ran out of money, he could chase softballs. We'll give him 50 cents a pop. Back in the day, it was a dime to run down a ball here at Brookside Park, as a lot of legends have played here. There's a legend on first base in Craig Scott, right? In his own mind? Just kidding. Ladislav Malarchek will step in for the first time tonight. Is that Gwizdala? Gwizdala. That's pretty smooth. Gwizdala from Michigan. John Gwizdala delivers the second pitch, and Malarchek knocks it over the stands out of play. Gwizdala is a pickup from the Midland Explorers. Thanks, Mark Hastings. I got to cite my source. I used to get in trouble in class. Could you imagine if we had AI today? Seriously. I would have been actually able to pass that Spanish class, Luciano. I would have just had him write my papers in Spanish. She knew it was a foreign language. She just didn't recognize which one. As strike 3 delivered to the leadoff hitter, Malarchik. Jerome Ramaki. I was waiting for Mark Hastings to say that because I didn't want to get it wrong. Ramaki. Jerome Ramaki plays third base, and the fella's looks like he can hit the ball. Strike 1 delivered. Well, the New York Gremlins team is full of stars, and their coach, is it pronounced Leather? Is that right? Greg Leather. Yeah, Greg Leather. Quite a name in softball, and they got another name over there in the dugout that's an Ashland guy we all know, Nick McCurry. Nick McCurry, Luciano, sold my parents a custom van in 1984, and we traveled a lot in that van. Nick McCurry sells batteries, the big kind that go into cars and vehicles. And a team, Ohio Battery, once upon a time, right? Isn't that right? Ohio Battery? 15 over team? Yeah, so you're eligible now. Guy to my right played with Nick McCurry on the Ohio Battery. Sounds like he gets served a summons with that name, Ohio Battery. Oh, somebody stop me. Ramaki with a 3-1 count. Waits on the pitch, and it's high. Ball 4. So he'll trot down to first base. And Benny Noka, let's talk about this guy.
Another member of the New Zealand national team.
Benny Noka is a player. That's the best way to say it. New Zealand national team. Great history. This team is loaded with talent, folks, and there's a reason they're number 1, as the first pitch from Gwizdala is a strike. He likes to get ahead of his hitters. And when you figure that out the second time around, look out creek. Got to be careful. A little low on the change. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 batter on. As we're in the bottom of the first inning of the nightcap here at Brookside Park. And a nice crowd on hand. Plenty of room to spread out here, as they've done a lot of improvements to this field. And you can see, folks, it's like playing on carpet out there. Infield looks pretty awesome. Wadala delivers back to the screen. So Inoka, who plays center field and wears the number 89, looking to move up his runner. And the pitch is popped up, and that should be an easy play. Well, I'd say Craig Scott, but, you know, he went from short to third to first, right, in his career. So Paul Mikiovic pulls that one down. Laulu up to bat now. Dwayne, that is. Or Wayne, I should say, the first baseman. Wayne Laulu looks at ball 1. Guys beside me are giving me the wrong names. Wayne Laulu. And that was close, but another ball. Ball 2. 2 down, bottom of 1, no score here in Ashland. A place we used to play a lot of tournaments, and not so much anymore, but glad to have one this time. We've had a men's national tournament here a couple times. We run some local high school tournaments we've ran for years that be moving to turf next year. Used to have the state tournament here for girls softball. Right here in this park, and until this year was the home of Ashland University softball, but they have their own field now, a Division II school here. Laulu waits on the pitch, and that's a strike, a delayed call. Full count, my friend?
Justin, where you stand?
Umpire coming out to talk to the pitcher. Not sure what it was. Something on the field, maybe. He was getting off the field there.
Is it Airbnb? It's, what's it called? Something, the extra house. Yeah, yep. Thank you.
Laulu waiting patiently on another pitch. Runner on first base. And let's see. That's a strike. Full count. Laulu, a little bit outside, takes ball 4. Second walk issued by Guizdala. I've got 2 outs, right? Leadoff hitter struck out, and the second guy popped out the short. There we go. We're up to speed now. Got to keep an eye on these guys. Andrew Kirkpatrick, the designated player, steps in from the left side and watches the ball go outside by about a foot. Runners on first and second. Bottom of the first inning. An honor to be able to call this New York Gremlins team. And that's going to be ball 2 low. Kirkpatrick, pretty big fella. He looks like he's about 6'4", too. Or as Mark Hastings would say, 6'3.5". Is he 6'6"? Yeah. He's tall. And that's a strike on the outside corner, 2-1. It's one of those guys, when he throws the ball, he looks like he's stepping on the plate. And we will see him this weekend. Swing and a miss. They have this handy thing that we didn't used to have when we were younger with softball called Game Changer. And you can find a lot of teams. And right now, the ball will sail out in left field and drop, and the first run will come across the plate as they'll hold the second runner up at second base. So Kirkpatrick, with a flare to left field, knocks in the first run of the game as Ramaki scores. Laulu stops at second, and New Zealander Cole Evans, the shortstop, will tow it in front of the plate. 2 down. Ground ball hit, foul. This game is actually available to see right there, so we can keep track if we're, see if we're off, we can see the real box score. I keep a scorebook in here with me the old-fashioned way. And that is a shot to center field over the head. And that's going to score a pair as Ivan Reyes really had that ball sail over top of him. And that brings in Laulu and Kirkpatrick. And Evans double makes the score 3-0 Gremlins. And Brian Avery will step in And this team is packed with players that play all over. Avery looks at ball one. Quick 3-0 start.
What's up, Mike?
And Gwizdala delivers the pitch, a ground ball, fooled and went off of the second baseman's glove. And sometimes when the play looks easy, it's not, as Ryan Willems booted it.
With 2 outs and runners on the corner, brings up the catcher, Blake Hunter.
And that'll put runners on first and third base with 2 outs and bring up the catcher, Blake Hunter. Of all the names I've had to say tonight, Blake Hunter is a welcome name. It's like saying Mark Hastings, Blake Hunter. Seriously, I needed Google Translate to say the names. They're hard. Not easy. Ball gets away, and coming home to score is Evans. Avery will advance to second, and Blake Hunter will look at a 1-0 pitch, I should say, when Gwizdala gathers himself. So that's 4-0 here early on, and a strike. It's kind of how the first game started out. With some runs from the Lumberjacks, as that is a can of corn out to right field, and that'll do it for the Gremlins in the bottom of the first inning. The Gremlins score 4 runs on 3 hits. And we'll head to the top of the second inning with the Gremlins leading this one 4-0. You're watching and listening to New York Gremlins Network, the network production of Premier TV. We'll be back after this. All right, there's my warning. We're back. 4-0 as the Gremlins, with a few hits and 4 runs in that inning, including an error on the A's. And, well, let's get out of the Bombers and over to the A's. Got to get to the right score page. Chris Reinhardt, the catcher, will lead off for the A's in the second inning. The lefty eyes Beesgrove's pitch, and Jack blows it by him. The 19-year-old lefty delivers his second one of the inning, and it's a ball outside. This is the 9 o'clock game. Tomorrow we'll have, 5 or 6? Starting at 9 o'clock in the morning, folks. 7 games tomorrow, and then 3 on Sunday, including the championship. I'll be gone tomorrow. Mark Hastings, Mike Van Dyne Jr. will be on the microphone, and, well, I'll come back Sunday to finish it up. Strike 3 on Reinhardt, 1 out. And the first baseman, Craig Scott.
Brings up the first baseman, your tournament director, Craig Scott.
Craig Scott, of course, made this all happen, bringing it to Ashland. And, well, the guys are thrilled to be here as Beesgrove delivers the pitch outside. Now, do you feel extra obligated to the tournament director when he's up to bat, fellas? Obligated to strike him out? That was a joke. 2 balls, no strikes. Craig's been playing a few years. Is he 40 what? 37, okay. And he was the quarterback on the high school football team, I remember. Started with Mark beside me and his team when he was 16 years old. So he's been playing over 20 years. That's why I'm up here now. And you guys are too. Full count on the batter, Scott. 1 down. Top of the 2nd inning here at Brookside Park in Ashland. As Beesgrove throws one on the outside corner. And 2 down now for the A's. Ivan Reyes, the center fielder, will step up to the plate. Ivan had one sail on him in the bottom of the 1st in center field. He thought he might have it, but it was climbing. Jumped right over his head. They're changing helmets down there, Luciano. That's what he's doing. He's changing helmets. The helmet he had on, he can't wear. So he had to go back to the dugout and get a new helmet. Luciano's looking like me like a deer in the headlights. Or a deer in the field lights. Needless to say, there was deer involved in that strike 1. Reyes wears number 7 and plays the tough position in the outfield where he has to cover more ground, and that's strike number 2. He's not messing around with him. Beesgrove going right for the throat. 6'3" lefty delivers up high, trying to get him to chase. And he does not, folks, I mean, and you know this if you follow this team, does not look like he is 19 years old. The native of Australia mixes it up a little bit on Reyes. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and the pitch is right on the corner, strike 3. That'll do it for the A's in the 2nd inning. Your score with the Gremlins coming up in the bottom of the 2nd, 4-0. You're watching the New York Gremlins Network, a production of Premier TV. We'll be back after this. Again, a quick, abrupt throwback here in the booth as the batter, Gonzalo Masamu, the second baseman, will toe up the plate against John Guizdala. The Gremlins with a 4-0 lead here in the bottom of the 2nd as the A's have mustered 1 hit in this one so far. This team is full of international players, and Masmu one of them. Ball high. Fans are enjoying this night as it's kind of a blowback, right, to a lot of nights we used to have here at Brookside Park. Used to be the house of a lot of tournaments back in the day, and, well, the Faultless Rubbermen and the Merchants ESS were two of the teams that featured players from New Zealand and Canada and a lot of international pitchers that were outstanding. That's just a hair outside. Got a buddy listening in California that played for Larry Miller Toyota, Joe Vigil. Joe Vigil played at University of Minnesota, played baseball for him. And he, it's the first time he's got to hear me do television. Masmu now, full count. And Guizdala will wind and deliver and hops into a ball 4. And the first inning started with a strikeout. The second inning starts with a walk. And we're back to the leadoff hitter, Ladislav Malarchik, the right fielder, the lefty for the Gremlins, with a runner on first and no outs here in the bottom of the second. The Gremlins have really had a successful season as they've won 3 tournaments that I could find. The Chief Challenge in Ontario. They won a tournament in New York City in the Circle Tap at the Boys of Summer. So they've had a real successful year so far. As a guy that's a foreigner to doing softball, right, it's pretty neat to see a team with this kind of talent. Strike on the outside corner, 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 on, no outs, bottom of 2. So they have black and white uniforms, but they throw in like a forest green on their numbers. And that is just a great piece of hitting. Reaches out and just pokes it into left field. And Malarchik has his first hit of the night, and we have runners on first and second with no outs. Jerome Ramaki, the third baseman, will step in. He walked his first time and scored. And Guizdala is trying to get through this lineup for the second time. It is not fun, folks, to have to face this lineup. And swing and a miss. The big lefty wanted to send it into the lights. Oh, 1 count. Guizdala just a bit inside. Fans are getting a treat this weekend. 7 games tomorrow, 3 more on Sunday, 2 tonight. Do the math on that, Hastings.
12, Dan.
He had to think about it for a minute, but it was 12, and I knew that would make sense to him because 12 is the same as 12 ounces, so I knew you'd get it. That's a ball. Sometimes I crack myself up. But what Mark does for a living is you actually work for a company that sells 12-ounce beverages. Just a hair off the corner. And that's one as a pitcher that you really just shake your head. You got to really get that pitch. Otherwise, it's going to be a long night for him. Guizdala stares down the hitter with a 3-1 count, no outs, and runners on first and second, and throws it on the inside corner for a strike. Well, I didn't have access to the Gremlins batting averages like I did the Lumberjacks. Somebody's got it locked down on Game Changer. They're cheating the announcer. But I would guess the numbers are pretty good. As Rumaki heads back to the dugout, the first out of the inning. Ben Inoka steps in, as we'll have a little powwow in the middle of the field here, in the main diamond. So what does Inoka like to do when he's not playing softball? Anybody know in here? What does he like to do? Do you know what he likes to do? Luciano, what does he like to do? He likes to fish. Yeah, he likes to fish and he likes to play golf. The guys beside me like to play golf. They're not very good at it, but they like to play. But that's what he does when he's not playing ball. He does, but he likes to fish and golf too. So somebody needs to, A, take him golfing while he's here, and B, take him fishing. That's your job. And that's good discipline right there as he lays off a pitch just out of the strike zone. The 6-footer, 5-time ISC champion. Pretty impressive. That might get you into the Softball Hall of Fame someday. What do you think? And unusually, as that ball is blistered over the shortstop's head, and that'll score a run on that hit. He bats right, but he throws left.
Single by Inoka scores a run. Brings up the first baseman, Wayne Laulu.
And Masamu came in on that one to make the score 5-0. As Malarchek advances to second, Inoka with the single to first, and Laula, Wayne that is, steps into the plate. What if his first name was D and his middle name was Wayne? Then he'd be D Wayne. Try not to choke on my water here. Wayne sizing up Guizdala and hits it right to the third base bag. And nifty play at third, but thrown into the ground. And Craig Scott wouldn't have got him had he have scooped it. 2 down.
With 2 down, brings up the designated player, Andrew Kirkpatrick.
So the fielder's choice leaves runners on first and second with 2 down. And Andrew Kirkpatrick, the designated player, will step in. Imagine we'll see him tossing the ball tomorrow. The big lefty waits for the first offering, and Guizdala hits the corner. And he's just been a little bit off the corner the whole night. Larry Fisher, the ISC commissioner in town for some softball. Good to see him. And that is pounded down the right field line into the corner. And Kirkpatrick going to just trot into second, and that'll score 2 runs as a double by Andrew Kirkpatrick makes it a 7-0 lead and gives him 2 more RBIs to make 3 on the night.
Brings up the shortstop, Cole Evans.
Kirkpatrick doing his best impression of Ohtani, right? He pitches and hits. Cole Evans, the shortstop, now up to the plate. Got 2 down. And Kirkpatrick at second base. And strike 1. Tomorrow I'm dipping away so I can watch my own daughter play softball. She'll be a freshman this year. And it's her last tournament of the year, so I got orders from the wife to give the mic to you guys tomorrow. She has 3 games. All of them. I got to add those up. He's asking me how many hits we got. The home team has 2 this inning and 3 the first inning, 5. You're making me think over here. Wizdala rocks and fires, and Evans swings and fouls it under the catcher. And Chris Reinhardt was glad that was lower than it was. Because those hitting off your shins and everywhere else hurts a little bit when you're catching. And that's inside. Pretty good control from everybody tonight, right? Seeing a few base on balls here and there. But I remember back in the day when the guys like Zach and Allgaier used to hit guys, and that didn't feel very good. I mean, when you're throwing that ball that hard from that close, it translates to over 100 miles an hour. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 7-0, bottom of the second. Gwizdala will offer again. Rocks and fires, and the pitch is lined to third. Nice play coming across the diamond. And that'll be the 3rd out as Reinhardt to Scott ends the inning for the Gremlins. We'll head to the top of the 3rd inning. Gremlins leading this one 7-0. You're listening to the New York Gremlins Network, a production of Premier TV. We'll be back right after this. Beesgrove getting in his in-between inning pitches as former Ashland A's pitcher Bobby Durr steps up here into the booth to say hi to a couple of the guys to my right. It's very pleasing to know that these 2 guys have at least 2 friends. But you know, when you're good at softball, you make a lot of friends. And when you're bad, they feel sorry for you and they become your friends. Which is it? Still good, okay. Jerry Zerla, the right fielder, will step in and get strike 1. A lot of former softball players in the area sitting in the stands tonight. Good and bad ones. Of course, our scoreboard keeper over there to the right, Mike Van Dyne, as we see strike 3, once witnessed me dive in a fast pitch game at first base and caught a foul ball. He's like, how did he catch that? Now when I got up, there was a big divot in the dirt, but I caught it. You think I'm joking. It was a dirt divot, but it was a heck of a play, wasn't it? And the first pitch is a ball to Zach Nussbaum. The lefty's first at bat of the game. He is number 9 for the A's. One base runner so far for Ashland. And he tries to bunt unsuccessfully. And that'll be 2 strikes against 1 ball. He did not go, and that ball was about 4 inches outside. Of course, the camera angle on TV, it's a little bit different, right? Standing over top of it, I'm literally right in the middle of the plate. And that is strike 3.
With 2 down, brings up the left fielder, Dustin Holtz.
And the PA announcer, Mark Hastings, led the way for me as Dustin Holtz steps up to the plate for his 2nd time, struck out in the 1st inning. Team scoreless in this one so far. And the top of the 3rd and the curveball is outside. He's got a few pitches, folks. And he's got command of them. It's one thing to throw 3 pitches. It's another thing to be able to throw them well. One ball, 1 strike. And really, I don't think very many people have left. I think everybody's still here. I think we actually got more people in the 2nd game. As Holtz grounds in to a Ramaki to Laulu, 3rd to 1st, out. No runs, no hits, no errors for the A's in that at bat. We'll head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. The score, the Gremlins 7, the A's 0. The New York Gremlins Network production of Premier TV. We'll be back right after this. All right, I got my 1-2 warning here from Luciano, and we're back. I'll tell you what, folks, you have to see the setup this guy has. I mean, it takes him longer to set this up than it does for me to eat a Big Mac. If you believe that, not true. How long did it take you to set this up, Luciano?
About 4 hours.
Took him 4 hours? That's a lot of time, man. You're dedicated. That's why I'll keep sending them to the breaks for you. Pay the bills. Brian Avery had a hit his first at bat. And 1-1 count on him right now. As Guizdala looking to slow this Gremlins team down. How do you do that? How do you slow this team down? I don't think you can. Yeah, they've lost 1 game this year. And that was in an inter-squad scrimmage, I heard. I got to stop, really. Avery works the count full. Are you fishing? Luciano's moving things around over here. And that was hammered to center field and touch 'em all time as it lands in the trees. And that is the first home run of this softball game.
Brings out the catcher, Blake.
And the left fielder will take the fist pounds as he heads into the dugout. 8-0 here in Brookside and Ashland. The main diamond here where they played a lot of softball over the years. A lot of Hall of Fame softball players have went through here. And Blake Hunter will step in, the catcher, with no outs in the bottom of the third. And this is where, if you're Guizdala, you just keep working. You just keep bringing it and hoping you keep the ball in play and your defense plays for you. And he knows that he's playing a solid team, and he's gonna sit out there and do everything he can to keep him under control. And 6-3 on that play, and the first out of the inning as Hunter grounds out to short. Mikovic with a nice play.
Brings up the second baseman, Gonzalo Masmu.
And to be honest with you, that ball kind of played him. It hopped a little bit, and he made a good play. It jumped on him at the last minute, and you wouldn't think you'd see that. Believe it or not, people, there are people in this booth with me that I'm talking to. They're just not wearing microphones. You wouldn't think you'd see it from as smooth as the field looks, but that ball hopped. Might have hit one of Luciano's cameras. Did you put any down on the field so we could get ground level looks? And that ball is on the inside part of the plate for strike one. Gonzalo Masmu, the second baseman, faces a 2-1 count, and that is a changeup for a strike. And that was a pretty good one. Must have been a little low. And that's what's really hard to see. I mean, we can see it, but it's harder to see from up here. Up and down. See it on the monitor, but you can't see it if you look straight ahead, and that's ball four. So Masmu heads to first, and the Gremlins have another base runner with one out. And the leadoff hitter, Malarchek, will step up to the plate. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Malarchek, left-handed hitter, looks at strike one. And there's a lot of talent on this Gremlins team that's not even in this ball game, as I noticed. They have about 7 guys, I believe, on the bench. And those who follow this team pretty religiously. Yeah. A lot of Team USA players. Yep. Matthew Roy's pretty good, right? Wow, okay. You pronounced it right. But he's pretty good. Yeah, like the goalie, yep. Because he's from Quebec. He's the only guy here that's as tall as I am. It's 5'8". It's a heck of a player. And that's another one hammered to center field right between the scoreboard and the flag. And he will touch every base, as that is home run number 2 of the inning for the Gremlins. Malarchek knocks in 2 and takes the scoreboard out to 10-0.
Home run by Malarchek makes it 10-0. With one away, brings up third baseman Jerome Ramaki.
Ramaki coming up for the Gremlins, the third baseman. Where's number 6? Hits left-handed and has no base runners, as the bases were just cleared by Malarchek. Second home run to center field in this inning. The only thing I see that could be an issue with a fence where you don't have anything on it is it'd be easier to run into it. And that's pounded to right field, but clearly an easy play. And Jerry Zerla gets out number 2 for the A's. And Ben Inoka, who had a single in his last at bat, will step up to the plate. 2 down, 10-0, Gremlins lead. Bottom of the third inning. And Inoka, who plays probably as much softball as anybody, right? A lot of softball. How does he have time to fish and golf? Maybe he fishes and golfs at the same time, which means he's not very good at golf, right? He's fishing for his ball. Nevertheless, he's a whale, get the pun, of a softball player. And that one's smashed, but I think it's up in the air enough that it's going to be caught, and it is. So that'll do it for the Gremlins in the bottom of the third inning, but not before they hit 2 home runs and now lead this one 10-0. We'll be back on the New York Gremlins Network, a production of Premier TV, right after this. All right, we're back. And that's, I told him, you know, in between the break there, that's what you get when you put a rookie in the booth announcing a team he's never seen before. Instead of Matthew Waugh, you get Matthew Roy, you know. Well, it's Waugh, so there you go. But it's the first time I've ever pronounced it in my defense, right? And so far I haven't said anything to need a defense team, so I'm good. All right. Makijevic leads off, the shortstop, who made a pretty good play in the last inning. The lefty struck out in his first at-bat in the first inning, facing Jack Beesgrove. And Beesgrove likes to pick that corner. And that pitch was just a bit outside, 1-1 count on the batter. And if you are from Ashland and you know Ashland softball, a lot of people are here that played the game and have been around the game, coached the game. So it brought out all the fans and the players and the former players in Ashland. As that is strike 3, and headed back to the dugout is Makijevic. James Reinhart, the third baseman, will step in for the A's against Beesgrove, who has thrown a pretty good ball game. Gave up 1 hit early to the guy at the plate. And the hit was a solid hit to left field. Reinhart poked one right over the shortstop, and it was on a line. Didn't get cheated. And he didn't get cheated on that swing, as the count evens to 1-1. When you see those balls leave the park, it is kind of, really something that you think about a little more when you come to the plate. 1-2 count on the batter, Reinhardt. As the 19-year-old from near Queensland, Australia, delivers the pitch and evens the count to 2-2. Another guy from Queensland, or near Queensland, Australia. Well, that guy's actually from Queensland, Australia. It is a guy that these guys to my left know I follow religiously on the golf course. Who is that? Jason. Jason Day had a good day today on the golf course. Barely missed a putt to be 4 under after the day, but the lead was 10 under last time I checked, right? So the Open, which used to be the British Open, I can't come to grip with that yet. Used to be the British Open, now they call it the Open. And that is out number 2 as Reinhardt heads back to the dugout, and up to the plate the second baseman, Ryan Willems. So probably a lot of fans. I bet some of these guys out here on the softball field from Australia are fans of Jason Day. And they may know him. He's a good family friend. It's a nice looking pitch right there from Beesgrove. Really no threat so far from the A's tonight. And that is strike 3, and I think he was out before they threw the ball to first base. So no runs, no hits for the A's in the top of the 4th. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th. The Gremlins 10, the Ashland A's nothing. You're watching the New York Gremlins Network, a production of Premier TV. We'll be back right after this. We're back, and the Gremlins' Wayne Laulu will step into the box and face Gwizdala as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Laulu, a right-handed hitter, put together pretty well. And Laulu, the first baseman, has walked and hit into a fielder's choice tonight. Better get the mic up around my mouth. Yeah, this is, he was talking about how nice of a setup this is over here. This is pretty impressive, man. I'll tell you what. Anytime you want to come and set up for me to do a game, football, basketball, softball, I'm in. Two balls, 1 strike, no outs. 10-0 lead for the Gremlins. And Laulu looks at a pitch that must have been high. Yeah, that looked like a strike to me, but I'm not umping, so there you go. And that one was full count. Gwizdala will rock and fire, full count, and that ball is hit a ton up in the air right in front of the flagpole and handled very easily by the center fielder,
One away
Yvonne
brings up the designated
Reyes.
player, Andrew Kirkpatrick.
One away here in the bottom of the fourth, and Andrew Kirkpatrick, who's having a ball game, folks. He is 2 for 2 with 3 RBI. And the A's are glad nobody's on base when he comes up to the plate. Strike one. And Guizdala really hasn't backed down from anybody tonight. He's going right after him. That ball over the catcher's head. So bottom of the fourth, and a flare out to left field, coming hard and making the catch. Great play out there by Dustin Holtz, as he gave all he had. And, you know, that's the difference between the playing conditions tonight and if it was wet out. If it's wet out, you don't get to that ball. And he was able to get to that ball. And he's playing, I mean, the left fielder's playing deep, right? But we haven't really seen a deep ball hit the left field, right? We've seen the deep balls hit to center field and right field. Two away, as that was a pop fly out to left, and a great play. And
Say Jack Beesgrove is from South Wales, not Queensland.
no, he's from near, I said. I don't have a. Trying to figure out who 41 is. That's who's batting right now. We have a substitution. Because Cole Evans is 34. We have no 41. So the player to remain nameless is at the plate. Is it Cole wearing 41? And strike three. After 4 innings of play here from Brookside in Ashland, Ohio, the Gremlins lead this one 10-0. We'll return on the New York Gremlins Network, production of Premier TV, right after this. We're back, and just to clarify, I said near Queensland, not in Queensland, so we want to make that clear that Beesgrove is from New South Wales, right? And Beesgrove has thrown a whale of a ball game, folks, and he has got another strike.
The catcher, Chris Reinhardt.
And Reinhardt leads off for the A's tonight. Here in the top of the 5th inning, the catcher struck out in his first at bat, and he's down 0-2. And that was a pretty pitch, folks, and that's one out as Reinhardt will head back to the dugout.
One away brings up the first baseman.
And the first baseman now stepping up to the plate, the guy that made this all possible, Craig Scott. And that ball is inside and high. Beesgrove with pitch number 2, and that is a strike on the outside part of the plate. 1-1 count on Craig Scott, who struck out in his first at bat. The A's with only 1 hit on the night from James Reinhardt, the number 3 hitter. And Scott with a 1-2 count. And Beesgrove delivers a good-looking curveball for strike 3. Ivan Reyes, the center fielder, to the plate. And the A's looking to muster something here to get on the board to not end this one early. And to pitch a little inside as, well, a 10-0 score after 5 innings makes it a night. So Reyes may be the last hope for the A's. And that is a fastball. That's not Brookside Drive, by the way. It's Parkside Drive, but you get it. Right down Parkside Drive. And number 2 right there. And Reyes, the last hope for the A's in this one. Outside, ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the 5th. 10-0 Gremlins. A little high. Trying to get him to chase. Jerry Zerla stands on deck, hoping to get the hit tonight. His second time. And that is ball 4, and no. Called strike 3. So for the A's in that inning, no runs on no hits. Final score in our second game tonight between the Gremlins and the A's. The Gremlins 10, the A's nothing. The Gremlins 10 runs on 9 hits, no errors. The A's no runs on 1 hit. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock as we return. You've been watching the New York Gremlins Network, a production of Premier TV. Have a safe night, everybody.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. Softball Premier TV